Senate and the president, vice president, they all was briefed on it before it happened, so they knew it was coming, and the seriousness of it. They just chose not to do anything because they didn't want to freak anybody out, scare anybody, and they didn't want to be blamed for not doing anything. So anyway, this is what happens when you don't take things seriously. This lady saying this coronavirus is no big deal, it's a hoax. She died from the coronavirus. So let that be a lesson to you, people, in your social distancing. Just, if you get to stay home, stay home. Stay away from other people. They're making it mandatory where I work at to wear this mask. So I'm going to have to wear a mask to work when I go into work. If you in the building, you have to have the mask on. So I'll have my mask on when I go to work. But anyway, that was just because my mechanic also told me, I asked him if he was working because he had my pickup truck at his shop and he had worked on it and he was done with it. But I asked him, are you still working? And he's like, oh yeah, we're still working. It's just two people there, just him and another mechanic just working in the garage. But he also said that I think this whole thing is overblown. And I was thinking, hopefully nothing. It reminded me of that lady who, when I was listening to the radio, the host of the show said she's dead now 2 months later after writing this email about how the coronavirus is a hoax. Not a hoax. Virus. Not created in a lab either. I know. The conspiracy theory segment of the show is over. I just forgot to mention that part. This virus is not created in the lab. And here's the thing. Those of you who think it was created in the lab, bioweapons work a lot faster than this. This coronavirus, you can catch it. You might not even have symptoms and you might spread it. That's not a bioweapon. They usually make bioweapons to kill the person who comes in contact with it in hours of coming in contact with it, not a month. A month later, you don't die. You spread it to someone else, because you can spread this coronavirus throughout the whole country, and still over 90% of the people who has contracted it will survive. That's not the kind of thing you create in the lab. When you create a virus in a lab, you make it more deadly. So those of you thinking this was created by the Chinese in the lab, and no, that would be, you know what I'm saying? You don't create a bioweapon that's over 98% of the people survive. They survive it. That's not a very good bioweapon. If you're creating a weapon, you want to kill most of the people who come in contact, not the opposite. Let's create a bioweapon that only kills people in their 70s and 80s. Yeah, that's it. So, hate to debunk another conspiracy theory, but that's the truth of the matter. This virus is more about how it spreads than how, how it's going to kill everybody. It's not going to kill everybody. It's going to kill 2% of the people, and that's a lot when you got 300 million people in here in the U.S. But 98% of the people who are testing positive, who are positive for coronavirus, they'll survive it. They'll just be sick. Some of them be sick. Some of them won't even be sick. They'll just have it on their hands, and then they'll touch you and put it on your hands. Then you touch your face, and you have it. Touch your eye, nose, mouth, or something. But anyway, I just thought that was interesting. But now I want to move on to sports, as if there's any to talk about. There's really still no sports to talk about. I seen one tidbit of information, though, concerning sports that I thought was interesting because it goes back to a point that I made on an earlier program, and that was this. I think these games can be played still, these sporting events, especially baseball, because they play baseball outside. Baseball's played outside. And it's harder for this virus to be passed when you're outside. When you're inside, you know what I'm saying? You're breathing the virus, or you cough and you got it floating around. You're touching stuff with a coughed up hand and you cough on other people or in their area, get it on them, and then they touch their face or whatever. Or you're coughing, spewing cough all through the air. You know, I mean, it's just it's a bad situation if you're indoors. But if you're outside, you know what I'm saying, you don't have to be, you could cough, turn your head, and the coughing floats away outside. So plus that in baseball, no one's close to each other anyway, except for the batter, the catcher, and the umpires right behind the catcher. But they all got protective gear on. All they need to do is wear a mask. They're already all wearing gloves. Anyway, the batter's wearing gloves. The catcher, he's got his mitt on, and on the other hand, he has a glove on, a tight fit glove. The umpire, I don't know if the umpire's wearing gloves, but they can all wear a mask and still play. Everybody in the outfield is more than 6 feet away from each other. Baseball field is pretty big. So I don't think that'll be a problem. The first base, second base, third base, shortstop, pitcher, they're all spread apart. Outfielders all spread apart. So I don't know if they needed to cancel baseball season. I think that was unnecessary. You could play these games without the fans in the stadium. Just put it on TV. People still watch it on TV. Just have the batter and the catcher and the umpire put on a mask. They're already wearing gloves. So that was my idea. That they can also have, I don't know about the NBA. If this thing lasts, if it's still going on when football season comes up, the football players are in. These games can all be played outside too, but they're in closer contact than in baseball. In baseball, the players are all spread out anyway. But in football, it's close contact. But you can always have the football players wearing masks, and a lot of them already wear gloves anyway when they're playing football to protect their hands. I remember when I played football, never at this level. I used to tear my fingernails off a lot by playing, and that's why you see some of these players taping up their fingers, because your fingers get caught in someone else's jersey. If you can't tell this on TV, but a lot of these jerseys have a bunch of little tiny holes in them. That's the way the jersey's made. I don't know if it's made that way for venting, keep the airflow on the players or whatever, or comfort with a bunch of little holes in the jersey. But your fingernails, when you're grabbing another guy's jersey, your fingernails sometimes get caught in the material, and these big strong guys will just keep they'll keep right on going. And if if you don't have a good hold of the jersey, they'll rip your fingernails off. So once that happens a couple of times, it only takes a couple of times for that to happen for you to start thinking, I think I'll put something on, tape up my fingernails. So a lot of that, and sometimes when the quarterback throws the ball, if he's in a hurry, which happens a lot, he'll just throw it hard, like he wants the ball to get out of his hands fast and into your hands fast. He'll throw it hard, so the ball's coming at you. Sometimes, not all times. Sometimes they just throw it up, and they want you to run under it. Like you can outrun the defense and get under this ball and catch it. But a lot of people have resorted to wearing gloves to protect their fingers and their hands from the ball and from injuries, getting fingernails caught in jerseys and getting broken by the ball hitting your hands really hard. Sometimes, the ball is thrown right at your head. You put your hands up to catch it, and bam, it hits your fingers and breaks your fingernails, and they get all chipped up. And anyway, so a lot of players are wearing gloves now. All they need to do is wear a mask or put these shields. You see a lot of these football players that have shields over their helmet anyway. So I don't know. I think the football players don't actually have to touch each other. They can have long arm sleeves and gloves on when they play the game. The game's going to be outside. The audience, the fans in the stands, they don't need to be there. They don't have to be there until we get past this crisis. So think about it. Okay, we're gonna go for another break, 30, and we'll be right back right after this. Don't go away.
And now, without further ado, the man we've all been waiting for, T-Jam D. Welcome back to the show.
All right, we're back. Anyway, where I left off is talking about how they can play these games in sports. There's been no sporting events, but they still can play the games. If they would just take my advice, they'd be fine. Now, it's not affecting the football games yet because there's no football on yet. It's not football season, but it is coming up on spring practice for college football. So, don't know how they're going to deal with that. We'll just have to wait and see. But it's coming up, and we'll see what happens. But I'm just saying that the players can wear long arm sleeves. I know right now it's not something that they'd like to do. You see some of these football players actually out here playing, and even when it's cold outside, a lot of them don't have sleeves on. And I keep thinking, why? Why don't you have sleeves on? It's cold. I remember when I played, and I only played up until high school. I should have stuck with it because I was a pretty good athlete, but I didn't really even give it any maximum effort. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't really even trying that hard. I just played because I liked it. I like sports. I'm a sports fan. I was a pretty good athlete. He's a pretty strong kid, pretty fast. So I played sports. Not that tall. I'm only 6 foot tall, but, I played basketball too, but, I'm a power forward by nature.